So folks, we have one of the coolest self-defense situations I have ever seen. And it involves a person who's pretty wealthy, but at the end of the day, self-defense does not discriminate. It's my right, it's your right, it's a billionaire's right, it's a homeless person's right. We can all appreciate the fact that we value our life. We have a responsibility to God to protect our life at all costs, because at the end of the day, He gave us life, and that's simply it. But before I get started, I want to thank one of the biggest sponsors of the channel, Attorneys on Retainer. Today's video is going to be a perfect example why I have Attorneys on Retainer on the channel. If you get into a self-defense situation, they cover everything from your immediate call to tell them what happened. You have attorney-client privilege. They cover bail. They cover everything up and until the trial, including questioning. They cover everything during the trial, including expert witnesses, everything you need at no cost. And they are not an insurance company. They're a law firm, which means they can cover criminal acts, unlike some of these big-time insurance self-defense coverages. In fact, Jared from Guns and Gadgets, can we all just give him a round of applause? He just came out with a video saying that he is no longer with USCCA and has joined Attorneys on Retainer.
USCCA somehow dropped the ball on that one too, because Coley's first call was to USCCA. He ended up with an indigent defender, a court-appointed attorney. It got to a point where I was no longer confident that the USCCA would have my back if I were in the shoes of, say, a Kayla Giles or an Austin Coley or anyone else. And right after the Austin Coley case, I asked a ton of questions. I was banging the drum. I was very forcefully asking questions and demanding answers. And again, they decided they were not going to give me answers. And I've been studying all of the programs that are out there, but I will tell you, the big one for me is I have joined Attorneys on Retainer. We have partnered up because I think it's the best in the land.
I gotta say, it is a sigh of relief. Over the past year, I've consistently called out USCCA and honestly, people who have worked with them. And he is one of the few who was able to listen to logic and say, yeah, this doesn't sit right with me. And I just want to applaud him and say, outstanding work. That being said, for those of you who want to join Attorneys on Retainer and not be stuck with an insurance-based coverage that will possibly drop you like they did Kayla Giles and Alan Coley, we're going to give you $50 off your individual sign-up, $25 off your family sign-up. There's going to be a link and code below the video. So today's story is pretty simple. A man driving a Lamborghini SVJ, which that's out of my league here. Honestly, I don't even know what SVJ means, but it's a very expensive car, was driving into his driveway, and a couple of thugs decided they were going to follow him home and try to rob him. Now, before I even show the video for you or me, what do you think we would grab? I'll start by saying this driveway looks like it's about 100 yards long. I personally would probably grab an AR, possibly an AR-10, but most likely an AR just because I can fit more rounds in there, less likely to jam. What about y'all? Hopefully nobody says a shotgun when it comes to 100 yards, but who knows what new developments are coming along with shotguns nowadays. Great, so you have your answer. This guy pulled out a Barrett 50 cal. Check this out. I mean, it's one of the most badass things I've ever seen. So the individual who did this is a guy by the name of Geo, and he owns LGND Clothing. They do truck giveaways. They do a bunch of cool stuff. I do not work with them whatsoever. I just saw this and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But to kind of go through all aspects of this, there were a lot of people in his comments saying, well, why didn't you shoot? If I can offer some perspective, just looking on it from the outside, maybe they were a little bit in his driveway. I couldn't see if they had guns, but he could clearly tell he was being tailed. So who knows? If they had guns, yeah, he could have definitely shot him. But this is one of those leaner deals where we live in America where DAs honestly favor criminals. They say, oh, well, they were just following you. They didn't mean you any harm. They just wanted to look at your vehicle. Oh, really? Then why did they pull into my driveway and get out right in front of my house? But now we kind of get to the fun part. What would happen if he actually took a shot? With a Barrett 50 cal, that thing would be going through the guy, through the door, through the other door, probably through the other guy on the other side, all the way probably through a tree, and they would have probably gotten what they deserved. But this is the reality of America right now. You drive a nice car, you live in a nice neighborhood. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just look like an easy target. Maybe you're someone who criminals consistently target. It's one of the reasons why people say don't be an easy target. Now, that's easier said than done, depending on what you do for a living, depending on how tall you are, depending on how often you go to the gym, depending on your build. If you're a person who works in the white collar world, wears a suit and tie to work, maybe doesn't have a big frame, you're probably going to be an easier target than someone who's blue collar, who has a big build, who, I don't know, just looks meaner than the average person. But like we said in the beginning of the video, the Second Amendment does not discriminate. If you are an easy target and you know it, you should know at the end of the day. Carry a gun. Doesn't have to be a 50 cal. Even though it's super badass. The guy would have had to been very careful in terms of when he placed that shot, because if a car was driving by, he would have definitely put one through that car. But I think the bigger message is for the criminals out there. If you think that you could follow somebody home in America just because they have a nice car, just because they seem like an easy target, whatever it may be, just be prepared for what happened in today's video, because people don't fuck around with their stuff. People work hard. Just because somebody has nice stuff doesn't mean they're a bad person. Maybe they just were more dedicated to their craft. Maybe they just hunkered down and had a little bit of delayed gratification.